Welcome to the Car Guy Show. Join award-winning automotive magazine publisher Tim Miller, along with his co-hosts, national champion race car driver Kristin Treager, and country singer, songwriter, and driving instructor Luke Betchner as they travel the country looking at car life and car culture. Join us as we meet car guys in their cars, in their garages, at their clubs, and at their events. Come along for a real kick in the asphalt.
Welcome to the Car Guy Show. I'm your host, Tim Miller, and we have a great show planned for you today. We send Kristin to school, stunt driving school that is, where she learns about movie-making magic at high speeds. A friend of the show, Kevin from V8 TV, introduces a new segment of ours called Muscle Car of the Week. But first up, Luke and Kristin head over to Fort Worth to meet up with our friend Wes White of Injected Customs. He has a few cars to share with us, and one in particular is a Riddler car that no one else has seen, and we get an exclusive look.
We are here with a bona fide car guy, Wesley, owner of Injected Customs. How did you get into working on cars?
Well, I blame my father. He was an aircraft mechanic in the military for the Air Force for a long time, and then he had a love for motorcycles and had many race cars and autocross cars and hot rods and Corvettes, and he got me into it. And then when I was 14, he bought me a welder, and when I was 16, I loaded up the welder and I started doing ornamental fences for big ranches and making giant ornamental gates and security gates, and then just moved into cars.
One of the things that I love about your shop is that you apply what you've learned in racing and you put that in your street cars.
Absolutely.
So you've kind of combined the power aspect with the handling aspect.
Right.
Because some shops focus on just horsepower and some focus on just handling. You provide the whole package here.
Okay, my name's BJ Jones. Here at Injected Customs, we do new technology and old cars. I do all the fab work, welding, electrical work, engine building, transmissions. I've been working on cars about 35 years. Started BMW Ferrari dealership, and then I decided to start going into street rods, and most guys go from American cars to German cars, and I went from German cars to American cars.
You've done a beautiful job, Wes.
Thank you.
I'm awful happy it's here.
I appreciate that. And I'm interested to see what she does.
I am too. I am too. I'm gonna have to learn how to drive this all over again.
Yep.
This is my '69 Camaro. It has gone through many transitions in the 5 years that I've been working on it. Fortunately, I found Wes. Everything changed at that time. It started out just to be a driver, and he's turned it into a supercar.
We're here in the control room of Injected Customs with Wes. This is a gearhead's paradise in here. There's a car deemed the Sinister Kid. There's only a little bit of a 67 Camaro left in this thing.
Right.
All right, Wes, so here's the car.
This is the car.
There's a few things here that are standing out big time. So kind of give us a rundown on it.
All right, so this is our 67 Sinister Kid. What we had to work with was just a Holy Camaro. We had to use just the roof cap and the A-pillars. And our main goal first was to get it back to GM alignment and body specs.
And that's what we see here going on.
Yeah, and most of this is either new sheet metal or we hand formed it from a flat sheet of steel. We essentially hand forged the rockers and the inner rockers and partials of the rear quarter panels. We made the door skin. This is all Dynacore front end that we're going to remake. But now that the car is actually back in spec and the doors closed and everything is the way we wanted it. We wanted to create basically a contender for the Riddler coming out 2017, and essentially we wanted to build and design something and really set the bar much higher than it's ever been set, and really do something completely different than anybody else has ever done, and really push the limits of what we can do in a 67 Camaro.
Right.
That I truly believe that you can have the biggest motor in the world, but if you can't put down the power, it's useless. So I started this company with $64 in my bank account.
Holy cow.
And one customer that believed in me. This is something that I've always wanted to do, and said that I would hopefully own my own shop by the time I was 30. I told my 8th grade teacher that, and I owned my first shop by the time I was 25. It gives me more passion about what I'm doing, and passion about this is it's artwork, you know, to me anyways.
What kind of working condition is this? I need another mimosa.
Seriously, like,
Oh,
no
I'll take
way.
both.
Oh,
No, just
no,
kidding.
you're not. Wow.
Well-
look at this. What a good day at Injected Customs.
I know, great top shop. Awesome cars in the parking lot right now. We've got, you know, muscle cars, some exotics.
Yeah, a
I'd
little
say
bit.
today was a pretty good day.
I would say so.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, well, I say
What are we gonna do now, Kristin?
we have a good old-fashioned race.
Yeah.
Let's get you strapped in here nice and tight. Yeah.
For what?
All right, okay.
Why are we doing that?
First one out the door, loser buys lunch.
Are you kidding?
You know, who doesn't love a movie with a good chase sequence? With cars flying through busy streets and multiple car explosions? Well, Kristin goes to stunt driving school, and she learns a few new tricks to take out on the track.
Welcome to Lone Star Park, where they normally hold horse racing, but today we're in this huge parking lot with the Wings and Slick stunt driving experience. Let's go check it out.
It was really different than anything I'd ever done. He just kept telling me, go faster, turn harder.
It was a blast. The first time it took you a little getting used to working the brake, but after that it was a lot of fun.
I still have fun doing this. I've been doing it for, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't get old. I don't
It
think
doesn't
it
get
would.
old. I mean, I'm an addict when it comes to, I have the same background as you. I've done a lot of racing. And I started this off as a skid school to try to help people. We were driving formula cars. We had people with no experience at all going into a single-seater formula car.
Oh, wow.
And they just couldn't keep the thing on the road because you know how sensitive they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it developed into stunt driving because I thought, well, this is way more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a blast.
Timing's the hardest part, but once you get the timing down, it's really fun.
You're not used to just going that fast and trying to turn, weave through stuff. I was thinking I was going to flip the car or something, but as I got faster, it was a lot easier to maneuver right through the cones.
So, first of all, we start you in a stop box.
Okay.
It sounds like an oxymoron, but that's the way we do it. Then, we're going to put you immediately into a slalom course.
Okay.
So you're going to go around, and do a J-turn, back through the slalom,
Oh my gosh.
and then end up in a stop box over here.
Wow.
The J-turn, here's our pivot point.
Okay.
We call it a J-turn because it kind of looks like a J in the shape. It's also known as a handbrake turn
Yep.
or Scandinavian flick. We're actually going to take the car and bring it around this pivot point by pulling on a handbrake
Okay.
and rotating the back of the car around so that we're shooting off into the other direction.
Okay. You're watching the Car Guy Show. It's a kick in the asphalt. You've You've seen it in the movies. Now you're gonna see me try it out with them. Let's check it out.
Time starts here, and time stops here.
And needless to say, it's not about just going fast, because if you go too fast and blow everything, it eats up all your time.
So therefore,
you have to have the proper technique.
we have judges.
Oh no.
So we got 3 judges, and the 3 judges are going to be volunteers from our potential ride-alongs and all these other people, or your peers. And we're going to take the time and subtract your judge's score. You know, the basics of racing is vision and hands, right?
Yeah.
And that's what slalom is going to help us exercise.
Okay, how fast can I go?
As fast as the car can.
Great.
Car runs out of talent at about 35 miles an hour.
Really?
Let's see where your talent level gets you.
Okay. All right.
All right?
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. I can't criticize anyone.
That's fun. I like that.
Can you do it backwards?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I can go forwards just fine, but going backwards is a whole nother story. I can't even see where the cones are. So when I first did the backwards slalom, it didn't look like this. It looked more like, oh. That wasn't too bad.
Crisper you are on that turn, the snappier the spin becomes.
Okay. So you want to be really sharp with it. Was that better? Stunt driving is a lot harder than it looks. I don't know where the cones are! I thought I'd be a pro at it, which I'm pretty good on the slalom, I'd have to say. He had no real critiques for me. But man, the J turn, that takes some finesse. This guy, he's a pro backwards. I am impressed. Well, they don't call it an experience for nothing. It is quite the experience. I did some J turns, 180s, the slalom. I thought I knew a lot about driving, but today I learned a little bit more. Thank you, Hans and Wings and Slicks, for a real kick in the asphalt.
Well, Kristin walked away unhurt and confident that she can make the big screen with her newfound skills. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, good to see you're back. You're just in time to watch Muscle Car of the Week.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
There's a saying in the collector car world that goes, they're only original once. There's a lot of cars in the Brothers collection that have recent perfect restorations where the cars look like brand new. And there's a handful of cars that we like to call survivors. And these are cars that have been driven and maintained over the years, but are largely original, complete with some of the flaws. And today's car is a great example of a survivor in a very rare car. It's a 1971 Plymouth Cuda with a 426 Hemi and an automatic in Tour Red. And it's a survivor. This car has not been restored. It looks like the wheels might have been repainted, and it no doubt has had maintenance items taken care of over the years. But the way this car sits today is representative of a car that was driven and enjoyed, but definitely not restored. It's very cool. They didn't make very many 1971 Hemi Cudas. I think in this combination, which has the 426 Hemi engine, the Torque Flight automatic transmission, and the 9 3/4 inch Dana 60 rear axle, you're looking at maybe 49 cars, I think. And although it looks orange, the color is actually Tour Red, which is the Plymouth version of Dodge Hemi Orange. The interior is black, and it is a well-worn car. It's got areas where the paint is kind of rubbed through, and it's got some chips and scratches, and when you look under the hood, there's some dirt and, you know, evidence of grease and leaks and things like that. But it's neat to see how an original car has stood up over all these years. The Cuda itself for 1971 went through a slight design update. To me, they look more like a fish. You have gills in the grille. You also have some neat side gills on the fenders. But this car is also wearing its very basic stamped steel wheels with, you know, the dog dish hubcaps. And there's nothing fancy about it, which is part of the charm of this car. You know, it's a bare bones, basic Hemi-powered car. So this could have been a street racer, could have been a drag racer, could have been somebody who didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money and they just wanted a basic car that went really fast. I mean, that's kind of the essence of a muscle car. What we liked about it is it's perfectly complete, and it does have a couple of neat details on it, like on the core support under the hood, there's the date written in a paint marker of when this car had its pre-delivery inspection. Some people would have been, you know, super freaked out about a dealership marking their car with a paint marker and might have taken that off. And we have all the paperwork on the car to show that that date coincides with its delivery date to the original first buyer. So it's kind of a neat piece of history. So this is what you came to see, the 426 Hemi under the big shaker hood scoop. It's very cool, and I really like this car because it's an unrestored survivor, and it hasn't been detailed its whole life and polished. I mean, this was driven, it's pretty clean, but again, it's kind of dirty, you know, it's just a car, it looks like. It's not 100% stock. There was a couple things added. Got an MSD ignition box over there and an incorrect, you know, late model battery. But overall, this is what it would have looked like when you popped the hood on the car new, giving you just a look back at what this thing was. And the originality is all, you know, kind of fine and cool, but the best part about the car is that it's a Hemi Cuda, you know, come on. 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 under the hood. These things had high compression. They advertised they made 425 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of torque. Everybody knows that those numbers might have been fudged a little bit. The Hemi cars for 1971 still kept their high horsepower rating, whereas the big engine cars from other manufacturers were starting to see the squeeze from emissions and lower octane gasoline, and insurance companies start to push their horsepower numbers down. But not the mighty 426 Hemi. This was the last year for the 426 Hemi, and it's cool to see that Plymouth kept it at its full strength version all the way to the end of the line. So it's pretty special to see any factory installed numbers matching Hemi Cuda at a show or at an event. It's very cool that the Brothers Collection has more than one Hemi Cuda. We've shown you some convertibles and some other Hemi Cudas in the past, but this one is extra cool because it is an all-original surviving car. We're glad that they have these things in the collection, and we're also happy that we can bring them to you each week on Muscle Car of the Week. This is one of those cars that if it had the ability to talk and tell stories, Can't even imagine what kind of trouble it got in over the years. You can see more of this car on our website at musclecaroftheweek.com and engage in the conversation on our Facebook page. And if you're watching these on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode of Muscle Car of the Week.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it. And we look forward to seeing you next week on The Car Guy Show, where it's always a kick in the asphalt. And what the heck is that? Let me leave you with a car care tip. You've just finished washing and waxing your car, and a bird flies overhead and leaves a little white present for you. Well, typically you grab your detailer spray and a microfiber cloth to clean it off as soon as possible before it begins etching into your paint. But if I end up at a car show and this happens, and I don't have my detailing spray and I don't have my microfiber cloth, what I'll do is a neat little tip that I think you'll find pretty quick and clean. You just got to kind of eyeball it, take a good look at it, and kind of sweep in, and it's gone. You might want to get a drink of water after you've done that, or a good ice cold beer. That's it for the Car Guy Show. Thank you for watching. Watch us on YouTube and like us on Facebook.